let's see what they've got to offer here. Oh god. Get out of here. Hail, adventurer! This guide is meant to help ye embark on thy early journeys into the dangerous lands of Aethoril. And in due time, the greater world of Eth-Ur, which lies beyond. Ahem. Though let us not get ahead of ourselves. For now, ye are but an innocent whelp, ignorant to the magnificent sights that lie in wait beyond the confusion, suffering, fear, and loss that shall mark thy first days of adventuring. Stretch break is still up. Thank you. But on a more chipper note, dear adventurer, please don thy gnomish spectacle if you must and read carefully below. It may mean the difference between memories of glorious victories or a descent into spiraling madness. Whilst it may be daunting, do take care to enjoy thyself, for as soon as these trying times will be but a quaint memory, and it will be you mentoring some tearful wretch through the darkness. Great RP flavor so far for this. Goodness. Tech conditions. We've got limited info on minimum specs at the moment, since we're still optimizing. Okay, yeah. Ooh, click here to learn about races. Let's see what they give us. Humans! Humans can be every class, depending on start location. Humans are the most common race found on the continent of Aethoril. They vary in disposition, motivation, and aptitude, almost as greatly as they number. Despite this strong sense of individuality, 4 common human cultures exist on Aethoril. The Bahara, a proud seafaring people whose history dates back to the fall of Hethalia, and who are rumored to align with powerful supernatural forces. The Terrellians, the other humans to migrate east during the Second Dicydium. They are a powerful and noble people whose queen is rumored to have gone mad. The dour and superstitious people of Easttime, whose love of tradition and bureaucracy is topped only by their affinity for corruption. And the nomadic sojourners, clans of these wildlings, tinkers, entertainers, and traveling merchants can be found throughout Aethoril. Ah yes, the gnome! Gnomes can be the following classes: cleric, elementalist, enchanter, fighter, necromancer, paladin, rogue, spellblade, and wizard. Fighter instead of warrior. Spellblade is new, but it sounds a lot like EverQuest classes. I wonder how similar they're going to be. Elementalist sounds like mage. Gnome. No race on Aethoril is as inventive or creative as the diminutive gnomes. Their ceaseless pursuit of truth coupled with their extraordinary epiphanies make them unrivaled in their genius. Behind the chaos of their workspaces and their curt, distracted demeanors, they are kind, gentle souls and are perhaps the most benign and also brilliant and charming of Ethur's races. However, you should be warned, some gnomes have fallen to the allure of dark gods and seek to use their brilliance for vile purposes. The Deep Gnome. Deep Gnomes can be the following classes: Beastmasters, Shamans, Elementalists, Enchanters, Druid, Necromancer, Wizard, and Rogue. Descendants from gnomes, this curious race emerged after the Great Cataclysm, having been transformed by something they'd experienced while deep underground. Where gnomes are the world's greatest engineers and researchers, deep gnomes are the preeminent meta-scientists and explorers of the worlds beyond. Their curiosity of deep gnomes is relentless, and they are fearless in venturing where others wouldn't dare. While deep gnomes make it a point to mingle with other races, they are only interested in doing so if it furthers their research. Unlike their surface cousins, deep gnomes do not seek to understand the truths of the universe, but rather those of the multiverse. They became the deep divers of the dreamscapes, explorers of the astral planes, and spelunkers of the spirals. And the more they learned, the more pressing their desire became to return to the surface. Ah. Let's see. Dwarves! Dwarves can be spellblades, enchanters, wizards, bards, rogues, rangers, fighters, clerics, and paladins. The origin of the dwarves is not entirely clear, but many historians trace their arrival on Aether to coincide with that of the dragons after the burning heavens cataclysm. Dwarven creation myths suggest that the dwarven people originate from the great mountains of the Galdri range to the east. These myths state that their people were created from the blood of their ancestor god, a great titan who formed their homeland upon his death. His blood gave life to the stone and shaped the dwarf people in his image. Dwarves are fond of strong drink, fine craftsmanship, astronomy, and exploration. They are quick-tempered, fierce fighters whose fortitude resembles the stone from which they are believed to have originated. As both master craftsmen and insatiable explorers, dwarves can be found throughout Aethoril. To befriend one of these stout and loyal folk is to make a friend for life. Oh man, what the hell? What? Deep dwarves. These enigmatic, dark reflections of their dwarven cousins are believed to originate from the same titan's blood. The stories of the deep dwarves' origins, often told to frighten dwarven children before bed, speak of the blood of life flowing into the darkest crevasses of the deep regions below Aethoril. It was here, amongst corrupted stone, that the first of the deep dwarves took form. However, the deep dwarves' relentless drive to collect spirits and trap them in their creations led many to think that they are but trapped spirits themselves. Perhaps the Titan's blood encountered something more than corrupted stone in those dark crevasses, where the separation between realities can be so thin. The deep dwarves are a calculating, methodical race. They tirelessly reshape the deep with cold precision and incredible skill. They not only carve and shape the stone, but breathe life into strange creations that assist them in their efforts. The insidious strategists see Aether and its fonts of life as something to exploit and conquer, and their steady, plodding determination is matched only by their stony strength. Okay. Inquisitor, Shadow Knight, new classes we're seeing here now. I wonder if they look more like this than an actual dwarf. Alright, the High Elves. The Cylindrin, or Cylindrine, or High Elves as they're commonly called, are tall, beautiful, almost otherworldly beings. Their powerful physiques, innate grasp of magic, and calm, calculated demeanor further feed into their sense of otherworldliness. They embrace this perception and lean into this sense of superiority. Purity is another common theme amongst the High Elves, as they consider themselves to be the only uncorrupted remnants of the great Califrey conglomerate. An elven empire that once spanned much of Aetheril's western seaboard. As the last of their kind, who follow strict religious doctrines, the High Elves are notoriously insular, and one of the least welcoming of the civilized races on Aetheril. It doesn't help that their sense of superiority is often reinforced when the quality of their craftsmanship, magic, and military prowess is tested. However, in recent years, a growing faction within their ranks has pushed the greater diplomacy and increased collaboration with potential allies. And now, this infighting has begun to manifest as more than just a raucous debate. As the longest lived of the civilized races of Aetheril, the infighting may take some time to play out, for the High Elves' plans can take centuries to unfold. Then we got Wood Elves, Beastmasters, Shamans, Druids, Archer and Ranger, two different classes. One more Imperial and less, nature-driven, I guess, is what jumps out to me for that. Let's see. So it's like Bretonnian peasant bowman or handsome strider Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. Which would you rather be, chat? Nephiloin, or Wood Elves, as they are more commonly called, once resembled their high elf cousins. Today, these keepers of Aetheril's great forest no longer appear as the elves they once were. Having been denied shelter from the great cataclysm by the High Elves, the Wood Elves were spared when the Fae of the branch interceded. Unfortunately, all deals with the Fae come at a considerable price. When this new generation of elves returned from the Umbra, they found that they were born of two worlds, but belonged to neither. While reclusive and cautious, the Wood Elves are fair and hospitable. They are highly attuned to nature and share a special relationship with both the flora and fauna of the great wooded hills. Their preservers and ardent keepers maintain watch of the forest they've worked for centuries to rebuild. Their druids quickly travel the world via natural waygates, and their lambent wanderers, a collection of Phaelin, wood elf bards and traders, roam the lands of Aetheril to conduct trade and diplomacy, spread their lore, and gain knowledge of the world beyond their woods. At home, the Wood Elves are monitoring the increasing growth of cults dedicated to the Fae of the Branch, who seek to return their people and potentially even their lands back to the realm of the Fae. Yeah. Ooh, then there's the Deep Elves, yeah! Inaruk's Chosen. While almost eradicated as a people during the wars following the collapse of the Califrey conglomerates, it's believed that the Aeltrist are now the most prolific elven race. Once vanquished, banished, and hunted, these elves fled deep underground, and it is here that they first heard the Shadow's voice. Having been warned by the shadow of the impending calamity that burned bright in the heavens, the Aeltrist descended further into the shelter of the deep. There they found a thriving ecosystem and adapted to the darkest depths of Aether's corrupt underbelly. And it's there that they learned to subjugate even the most demonic of forces. Or, as their appearance and collective ethos began to transform, perhaps they merely learned to coexist with the powers they sought to control. In the years that followed, the Aeltrist have claimed the title of Masters of the Deep and proven to be formidable against the armies of the surface world. I wonder how they do with deep gnomes and the underdwarves that we just read about. They've claimed the ruins of the city from which they were driven by the Cylindrins so long ago, and now deep below rests the great capital city of the underworld, in which the Aeltrist scheme and the shadows listen. Yep. Ogres! Yeah! Ogres can be archers, beastmasters, elementalists, fighters, monks, rangers, shadow knights, and shamans. I love monster races. These furious and fearless warriors are capable of incredible violence. In a heartbeat. Wait a minute.
In a heartbeat, their temperaments can swing from the stillness of a placid sky to the unadulterated fury of a raging tempest. They vary greatly in intelligence and disposition, but none of them fear death. For only the bravest of them will feast in the shattered halls of the elders. Ogres were created by the giants of the Storm Coast. to assist in countering the hordes of filth that poured into Ether during the first invasions of the Spiral Lords. Long after these wars, an unnatural cataclysmic event shattered the Storm Coast and killed off their giant elders, leaving the ogres both homeless and without masters. Over the centuries that followed, the ogres resettled in the frigid north of Aetheril and built a stratified martial civilization ruled by warlords. Today, these massive masters of violence can be found throughout Aetheril. Their strength and discipline has earned them a reputation as renowned soldiers, loyal mercenaries, and skilled craftsmen.
Okay. Then there's the halflings.
Halflings are the oldest of Aether's races by far, thriving as a civilization long before the other races had any significant presence on the planet. Like fey beings, halflings are born of Aether's life fonts and are deeply attuned to the sentient planet. Naturally, curious and consummate lore keepers, halflings were the first wanderers and storytellers of the world. The halfling race has lived throughout and witnessed all the events that have unfolded on Aether across the eons. When the world was safe, they roamed it, observing its marvels and spinning what they learned into wondrous stories and tales. When it wasn't, they often, but not always, hid in their cozy warrens and waited until they could resurface again. The world has changed much over the millennia, and so too have the halflings. Today, the majority of halflings are jovial, peace-loving farmers and settlers, as opposed to the daring wanderers of old. Unbeknownst to most, including many in their own communities, they've retained much of the lore of ages lost, and there are still a few quite adventurous halflings still looking to add to those tales.
My, isn't that nice? Then there's the trolls. It's believed that trolls appeared on Aether during the first invasions of the Spiral Lords. After cutting a swath across Aether, they emancipated themselves from their masters and melted away into the swamps, crags, and caves that served them so well as hunting grounds. Millennia of war and catastrophes have tested and tempered them to become ultimate survivors. No race on Aether has the physical resilience, natural adaptability, or cunning of trolls. They are self-serving, distrustful of everyone, including other trolls. They are cruel, calculating, and predatory, motivated only by power, self-interest, and survival. Above all, trolls value their independence. They bow only to power surpassing their own. But even then, that's what poisons are for. Jeez. Trolls are supremely crafty hunters, trappers, and survivalists. This is not just out of necessity, but out of innate sense of purpose. As such, the more ambitious and crafty of their lot have made their way out of the swamp and into the employment of those seeking only the most vicious bounty hunter, assassin, or beguiler. Trolls may be found throughout Aetheril, but they are not always welcome and they're always watched closely. Beastmasters, druids, enchanters, fighters, necromancers, rogues, shadow knights, and shamans. Goblins!
Greedy, sneaky, nasty, stabby, deceptive, and outright evil. These are the words the races of Aether ascribe to goblins. Only tolerable because their unique intuitions for sensing secrets and maybe the sixth sense of humor.
What? That's not a Brooklyn accent. Hey! Goblins, they have an aptitude for identifying hidden entrances, or being able to tell when another is not being truthful. And so they find great utility in leveraging their races renowned for secret finding, espousing themselves as invaluable guides to reluctant adventurers. For a non-goblin, it will be nigh impossible to navigate through the labyrinthine forest that shrouds the heap that goblins call home, an ever-growing pile of all the various riches and plunder the goblins manage to obtain from all their nefarious activities. What goblins lack in brute strength and size, they compensate for with an uncanny perceptiveness, chaotic presence, and mental alacrity. Goblins are supremely adept at seeing opportunities where others would not. Connecting the dots, others miss in capitalizing on them. It's not just how hard you thrust the knife, it's where the knife ends up. And that's all the races, by the looks of it. A couple additions and a couple subtractions as well. I'm gonna guess that erudite was just rolled into human for this one. Let's see, so classes. Okay, so there's the archer. A ranged-based damage class possessing situational abilities. Archers are highly specialized ranged combatants who devote themselves to mastering the use of the bow. These wizards of wood and steel are able to utilize a broad arsenal of ranged attacks. Archers are capable of mortally sniping from afar, penetrating the strongest armor, debilitating moving enemies, and even imbuing their arrows with elemental energies. Adventuring parties are smart to employ the specialized but highly capable combatants. This is good, as all but the most highly skilled archer may at times find it difficult to adventure alone. Archers typically wear leather armor and can wield all ranged weapons and most melee weaponry. Let's see. Hades, this is like a new EverQuest of sorts called Monsters and Memories. Bard, a jack of all trades whose music supports allies and enthralls enemies. Bards are traveling musicians who learn to manifest song as a form of magic. Unlike the other great magic users of Ether, who focus in a specific field, bardic magic is very diverse in its origins and capabilities. While a bard's song may not be as strong as certain magic spells, the experienced minstrel can bring to bear a solution for nearly any problem. Within an adventuring party, a bard is often sought out for their ability to enhance and inspire any allies. The time spent in taverns makes most bards decent melee combatants, and quite capable of other roguish skills. When adventuring alone, a clever bard can find success in leveraging the wide range of skills and songs. Bards are capable of wielding nearly all weapons, instruments, and alcohol-filled flagons, as well as wearing most types of armor. All but plate, probably, is my guess. Races that can become bards: dwarf, halfling, human, and wood elf. Fairly limited compared to some of the other ones. Wow, wood elf is the only elf? Interesting. Also similar to, wait a minute, high elves could be bards in EverQuest, I think. The Beastmaster. Beastmasters are a wild martial combatant who is assisted by pets. Sounds like what from EverQuest as well. Beastmasters are fierce two-fisted melee combatants who draw upon powers of animalistic spirits in order to enhance themselves and gain influence over wildlife. Through communion with wild spirits, Beastmasters have also access to shamanistic magics. The most unique and outstanding use of this magic is their ability to take on the form of an animal. They are also able to tame wild animals, as well as strengthen themselves and allies through various spells. While the stereotypical Beastmaster is depicted as adventuring, alone with their animal companion, they are very capable damage dealers whose magics are welcome additions to any adventuring party. I like how they're giving you like a bit of the roleplay gist of whether they can solo or whether they're meant more for groups, you know? Looking at Eminem, BTW, Hendo, and Matthias. Yep, we are. We're giving their page a good read through before we log in and check it all out. Although I probably should have installed it already. I don't remember if I did or not. How long could it possibly take? It's a playtest. They are also able to tame wild animals as well as strengthen themselves and allies through various spells. Very cool. Clerics. A plate-wearing warrior priest who excels at holy magic, healing, and buffing. Let's see. First I've heard of the game. First I've heard of it too. Chat turned me on to it today. Clerics are those who devote their lives to mastering... Oh wait, a plate-wearing warrior priest who excels at holy magic, healing, and buffing. Clerics are those who devote their lives to mastering healing and protective powers stemming from their stalwart beliefs and discipline. This is most commonly, but not always, manifested through their faith in and service to a deity. Clerics are primarily magic users who specialize in the mending of wounds, curing ailments, and empowering their allies. Powerful clerics may even bring their fallen allies back to life. Though clerics excel at healing, they are competent melee combatants. Through strength of arms and unwavering faith, clerics may smite their enemies with steel or employ powerful words and wards. Within an adventuring party, a cleric's primary role is most often that of a healer, yet they can be fairly sturdy folk and may take blows in place of their allies if the need arises. A cleric may find difficulty adventuring alone unless they are fighting foes which their faith specializes in the destruction of. Excelling at killing undead, maybe. Clerics prefer blunt weaponry and are typically seen in heavy plate armor. Let's see. Druid. A naturalist who communes with the wild to unleash powerful nature and healing magic. Druids are protectors of the natural balance of ether. They are primarily spellcasters. Druids are adept healers, skillful augmenters, and competent wielders of nature's destructive powers. Druidic magic on ether primarily employs elements from nature, but may harness astral powers as well. Offensively, these powers reflect nature's most destructive elements. Situationally, the druid truly shines. They may also erode a foe's resistance to spells, provide various magical enhancements to allies, summon the aid of natural beings, and even harness their connection to other planes to facilitate teleportation. Yes! Definitely got the old flavor in mind. A druid's diverse capabilities allow them to fulfill many different roles amongst adventuring parties. And through clever use of their magic, they are often seen braving the wilds of ether alone. Yep. Druids prefer to wear leather armor while wielding blunt weaponry or specialized blades such as sickles and scimitars. Elementalist. That looks a lot like a certain mage pet I've seen before. A conjurer of elemental magics, including a variety of elemental pets. Elementalists are dedicated magic users who devote themselves to the study and mastery of elemental forces, both on ether and throughout the greater planes. An elementalist is rarely without an elemental companion, and much of their magical ability is devoted to empowering or otherwise utilizing these companions in different ways. That being said, an elementalist's magic is very capable, raining chaos and maelstrom upon their enemies directly. As a result of their interest and study of the elemental planes, elementalists have learned the ability to conjure various useful, though sometimes strange items with a myriad of different uses. Within adventuring parties, it is most often the role of an elementalist and their elemental companions to bring as much harm to the group's foes as possible. Though, with the aid of their elemental allies, an elementalist never truly adventures alone. They may wear cloth armor and have limited access to melee weaponry, often preferring staves, wands, and daggers. What, Matthews, you talking about the old elemental pets versus the newer 3D ones? Enchanter! This is what I played when I played EverQuest. I was an enchanter for life. Only on the time lock progression servers did I play something else, and that was when I played Shadow Knight. I played other classes, but nothing higher than like level 10 or so. An illusionist, mesmerist, and beguiler, which makes them a strong crowd control class. Enchanters are subtle spellcasters who focus their study on magic, which affects the mind and manipulates the ephemeral. Above all else, the enchanter specializes in control and subterfuge. An enchanter's spellbook is diverse and situational, and it is here, in those unique situations, that the applications of their magics is most powerful. These EverQuest cover songs are not too bad either. An enchanter's spellbook is diverse and situational, and it is here, in those unique situations, that the application of their magics is most powerful. Their greatest strength in battle is their ability to assault the minds of their foes, causing them harm, incapacitating them momentarily, or turning them against their allies. Enchanters are also capable of imbuing their allies' weapons with magical effects, causing them to inflict greater harm with their blows. An enchanter is most at home when adventuring with others, and their role within adventuring parties is primarily that of one who controls the battlefield. When adventuring alone, an enchanter may encounter some difficulty, but clever application of their unique magic may ease that burden. No talking about charming! No talk about charming! Enchanters can be deep elves, deep gnomes, dwarves, gnomes, goblins, high elves, humans, and trolls. Troll enchanters! How interesting. Enchanter spells. Shadow pets. Buffs, single target mesmerization. Invisibility versus undead. Oh, I love seeing the varied spells on this. Actually, you know what? Let's bring that wiki up here. Yeah, haste, yeah. You know, it's like, when I was a kid playing EverQuest, I never really realized just how much people, like, really wanted not just clarity, but haste as well, and how incredible haste is for almost anyone. Slowing spells, yeah. Returning to bind points. I wonder what their shadow pets look like. I wonder if they're like animated objects again. Illusion Ogre, yeah! Yeah! The illusion spells. Mana Surge! Restores target's mana by 25 at the cost of 40 mana. Any duration on this? So we've got up to level 20 so far. Make target ally smaller. Summon a pet. Mental Surge. Better clarity. Oh, wait. Mental Surge is different. Oh, Mental Surge is you can just give someone else. So I can be like, oh, the healer is almost out of mana. I sacrifice mine to give them that. And all the illusion spells. Oh, goodness gracious. I would love for this to be a successful game. Charm is at level 4. I was gonna say, I didn't see Charm on here. Oh, there it is. Random duration charm spell. When did we get our first clarity? We get Mind Surge. But that's not that. Ah, there we go. Level 8 seems way more reasonable. When did we get the original clarity? Before the one that came out at... Like, Breeze was at a lower level one. It had to be like 16 or 18. I felt like it was a while. Like starting out. Very cool. So far, Enchanter, Bard are the ones I want to play the most so far. Those two are the ones that are so far calling to me. Fighter! A master of weapons and melee combat who is also a premier tank class. Let's see. Fighters are those who strive to become masters of the multitude of arms and armor that one may find through their travels. They excel at being at the heart of combat, taking blows for their allies and striking back in kind. Fighters are found in nearly every culture one may encounter while traveling across the continent of Aetheril. A unifying link between all fighters is the courage to stand toe-to-toe with even the strongest monsters of Aether. As such, their commanding presence in battle can control the flow of the chaos by directing attention onto themselves. Most often, a fighter's equipment is chosen based on what situations they may find themselves in, meaning that veteran fighters often aim to have a diverse arsenal at their disposal. However, in terms of weaponry, many fighters prefer to enter combat with a weapon in each hand, should the situation allow. While adventuring, a fighter should find themselves most comfortable when in the company of others. The world of Aether is a dangerous place, and skill in battle alone can only get you so far when adventuring by yourself. Besides, without a group of companions in tow, who will carry their ale? Fighters may wear all armor types and are capable of wielding all weapons. I want to see like the robe quarterstaff fighter. You could box a barb with you? Nah, I was never really one for boxing. I would rather have a real player with me that's playing their class. Let's see. Inquisitor! Whoa. An anti-mage knight who disrupts and controls their enemies. Deep dwarf, deep elf, high elf, and human are the only ones that can be it. I'm sure the community here will never let you be solo. Oh, I anticipate I would probably have people to play with if I was to play this. Inquisitors are brutally efficient melee combatants who, through the use of magic and force of will, assault the minds of their opponents. To dominate and control the battlefield, Inquisitors are often employed by various organizations throughout the continent of Aetheril as enforcers of said employer's particular brand of justice. Inquisitors tend to be driven folk who will get a job done no matter the cost and in the most direct manner imaginable. Using their magical training, an Inquisitor is capable of quite a few different ways to assault an opponent's mind. This includes temporarily rendering a foe unconscious, eroding an opponent's willpower, making them more vulnerable to attack, and permanently damaging their psyche. It almost sounds like a fighter-enchanter hybrid. Inquisitors often find themselves at the focus of their foes' attention, making them well suited to the role of protector within adventuring parties. While adventuring alone, an Inquisitor may find some difficulty, though through skill and determination may still find some manner of success. Monk! A strong martial artist who hones in the strength of their body to unleash powerful kicks and punches. Monks are skilled martial artists who devote themselves to shaping their bodies into deadly yet graceful instruments of violence. For many monks, this devotion is of a spiritual nature, though this is not necessarily true for all of them. Most monks view battle as a grim necessity to further their art. Others view battle as a righteous and glorious end, rather than a means. Monks choose to face their opponents up close and head on. Above all else, monks choose to master the use of their body as a weapon. With deadly blows, well-placed kicks, artful dodges, and even the ability to fake their own death, feign death, monks make for potent melee combatants. Within an adventuring group, monks use their speed, dexterity, and bravery to draw in foes for their allies to fight. They also deal significant harm to their enemies and, if needed, maintain the attention of said enemies. Some monks may find adventuring alone a difficult task. Others use their unique skills to help them through periods of solitude. while they wander Aether, meeting people and finding new adventures. The Necromancer! Deep dwarves, deep elf, deep gnome, goblin, human, and troll. Goodness. A spellcaster who studies the art of necromancy to reanimate the dead and unleash powerful poison, disease, and corruption magics. Necromancers are shadowy spellcasters who dedicate themselves to the study of the soul and its connection to life. Necromancers are most infamously known for their study of, and often reanimation of, or otherwise tampering with, corpses. Many people view necromancers with disdain and distrust, if not outright revulsion, due to the grim, and some believe profane nature of their work. The pages of an experienced necromancer's grimoire contain many different curses which debilitate and harm both the living and the undead. A necromancer's greatest tool, however, is their ability to animate undead minions. They are also capable of shaping flesh and bone in order to mend wounds, though such magic often comes at a personal cost. While adventuring, a necromancer's purpose is to harm and debilitate their foes while their allies, be they undead servants or fellow adventurers, shield them from harm. A necromancer can find success both within adventuring parties and while adventuring alone. Necromancers were, I believe, the best, well, back when I played in 1999, I believe Necromancer was the best soloing class, or at least it was believed to be at that time. I've always wanted to play a Necromancer, but never did. Always wanted to. Took too much time to play the Enchanter. Paladins! Yeah! Deep dwarf, deep elf, dwarf, gnome, halfling, high elf, and human. A knight who combines their fighting skills with faith-based magic. Paladins are ardent knights who staunchly devote themselves to a deity, set of ideals, or cause. They complement their martial prowess with powerful magic that derives from the strength of their beliefs or faith. Paladins are steadfast melee combatants who weave life energies into their blows, providing succor to their allies. Their magic allows them to heal, cure, protect, and embolden those around them. Paladins are also known to specialize in the destruction of the undead. Within an adventuring group, it is most often a paladin's role to shield their allies from harm by directing the ire of their foes to themselves. They may find difficulty when attempting to adventure alone, and are best suited towards assisting others. Can wear plate armor and wield most melee weapons. Yep. Dalton time? It could be Dalton time. When the last time lock progression server that I played on for EverQuest, we managed to get, through great help from other people, the Soulfire on my level like 10 or 11 paladin. So I got to go and, they still have it right now. They're like heading into doing, was it Karnos Keep or something like that? I'm trying to remember what's the first undead location that you really get to go to. It's not Kithakor Woods. Yeah. Unrest. That sounds about right. Yeah, I was just starting to kick ass in Unrest. Yeah, Sneaky helped us live some of these power fantasies. I also had to grease the wheels with some filthy Chronos every once in a while. I was like, I gave some Chronos to a fighter who was willing to destroy their Freeport reputation to help me do the Soulfire quest. Best use of Chronos was literally to hire someone for their time, and to because they permanently like ruin their rep for their character. Ranger, a fighter and archer with a druidic gift. There are few who are as capable at traversing the wilds of Aetheril as rangers. They are wandering survivalists who combine nature-based magics with blade and bow. Rangers are known as skilled explorers and guides, as they spend most of their time traversing most difficult climbs. While rangers are able to cast natural and astral spells, it is not to the same effect as druids. They make up for this through skillful use of melee and ranged weaponry. Still, a ranger's magic is capable of causing harm, debilitating their foes, or them in place. Within an adventuring party, a ranger most commonly takes the role of melee combatant, seeking to bring down their foes as quickly as possible, but they are also quite capable of supporting their party at range or with magic. Resourceful and skilled rangers are capable of making their way alone, as long as they make good use of their skills available to them. I always thought it was interesting how rangers in EverQuest had the twin epic swords of theirs, but they didn't have an epic bow. So ranger is going to be a more melee-focused archer, is what it sounds like. Rogue, man, Rogue gets no love in early game EverQuest on the progression servers. I hope they're like really important for dungeon crawling, disabling traps and stuff like that. A thief and trickster who excels at stealth, daggers, and thievery. Let's see. Oh, hey, Tangent, one of the devs here. We just wanted to pass you a thank you for reading out all of our lore. Cool of you. Oh, hey, how do I say this right? Hey, Karak Itsali. How do I pronounce that? First of all, welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm going to try to not do... obviously there's lots of inspirations here. We talk about EverQuest a lot with some of the comparisons that we're seeing. Every comparison that I say is definitely out of love and admiration for what you're doing here. I love MMORPGs. My EverQuest is my third favorite game of all time and really fostered my love for gaming as a whole, I would say. And seeing this kind of MMO being put into production, it just really warms my heart. So thank you. Thank you for taking the risk and the time to make a game like this that a gamer like me could really potentially find some great enjoyment out of. And with that said, it's lore is really valuable and important to someone like me, not just as like a dungeon master and lover of tabletop, but I'm coming into this, everyone's telling me that this is like MMOs of old, this is like EverQuest, this is like all of that. And I've got a lot of love for those games, but I also want to build my love for this game. And the playtest is going to be short and sweet from what I understand, so I don't want to get too much necessarily into the gameplay without knowing much about what is the artistic direction, whether written or otherwise for this. So, I love lore. I would absolutely love to know what I'm looking at before I look at it. Does that make sense? So having an appreciation, learning that paladins in this world don't just worship deities, they can also have an ideal or a cause instead. That's awesome to know. That would resonate with some other people who might not want to play necessarily a purely religious-based paladin, for example. Hey, we are honestly making this game for ourselves first, so it's just really cool that others are digging it. Hey, I love that mentality. I really, really, really do. Would you be okay? I mean, I don't know. I'm sure that you're super busy and that you've got places to be and fires to put out or what have you, but if you'd be willing to stick around for a little bit and answer some questions that chat may have, or maybe that I have, I don't want to put too much of a spotlight on you so much as I do on your game. But if you would be willing to answer a couple of questions here and there, that would be great. And I would love to maybe talk to you guys in voice chat sometime. Again, I really love these kinds of games. I really feel that I'm the type of player that really understands what you're kind of going for here, and I'm looking forward to diving in. I really am. Dev2PTW, I should probably have said that earlier. Hey, Pattis the Ranger, good to see you. Really, really good to see you all. Thank you so much. And again, thrilled to see a game like this being worked on. Very, very, very cool. We were just going through every race and every class so far, and we're down to the rogue at the moment. Honestly, I'm just grinding some crocs in the desert, so I'm around, ask away. Gotcha. Yeah, and if you or your chat have questions, I can do my best to answer them. Awesome. So, here's a question that I have. when it comes to sort of this emulation and stylization that is got an inspiration for something like EverQuest, are there, like, obviously we look for some of the good stuff to take away from that. Are there any things intentionally that you may have left out because you may have felt that they are either not fun, against the mindset of maybe what you're going for or whatever audience you're trying to get? Like, here's an example. And I'm not saying this is bad or not, but like death penalties, corpse runs, loss of EXP, both together at the same time, or even more so than that. Some people might say loss of EXP in 2024 could be a bummer. I'm not saying that's necessarily the case when I feel about it. I like a good challenge with my MMOs. But is there anything that you intentionally left out that you think that someone who would expect it coming into this game might realize is no longer here? January 2026 for an early access release. Cool. Cool. We have corpse runs. Okay. What about the EXP loss and all, and permanent, like, what's the repercussions for not recovering a corpse? Do you lose your gear forever? See, I'm asking these like, you know, tell me about this game. Like, this is the corpse run is not a dirty word for me. It is not. I want to see like necromancers, you know, summoning corpses to help out with that kind of thing. The initial idea was that original EverQuest was going down a certain design path. Then WoW came out, which is a great game that I love, and MMO design changed. I agree with you there. I agree with you there. Now, we might have different things that we agree or disagree about for that reason, but one example that I'll give is that when I love World of Warcraft, but when I got into World of Warcraft, the first thing that I had to get over was the surprise that, like, as I played a mage at first, and I immediately like stopped playing it the moment I realized that it was mostly just like all multi-ranks of damage. You know, I was like, where's Minor Illusion? Where's mana regen? Where's like the spells that have utility and fun and stuff like that? You know, like I kind of felt like, well, so we're kind of doing the what if WoW didn't come out. So would you say your approach is if EverQuest continued down its intended production path, or is it EverQuest that grows with the times? If that makes any sense. We have the corpse runs, EXP loss, but with purpose. Very interesting. I would love to hear what purpose you would assign to that. Because to me, as a gamer, the purpose is to recover the corpse, so you don't lose your inventory. Am I right, Chad, or am I right? It became so streamlined to provide little effort to do great things. Group Finder was done for the players. Getting to the dungeons became a teleport. We want to create social friction and that sense of danger. And WoW, you see a bunch of scary mobs and shrug. Yep. It's true. I remember sitting outside of the cave in Hallis with a group of other barbarians, and we were like too afraid to go in the cave because none of us could see in the dark. We're like, the vengeful soloist is going to spawn somewhere behind us, or we don't even know where it spawns. It might even spawn in the cave for all we know. We didn't want to get caught. Okay. I'm going to continue on readings of some of the classes. So, like, and again, we're talking a lot about EverQuest and comparisons here. The star of this show here, though, is monsters and memories. Looking to provide some new ones. And to the devs in chat, I'll be more than happy to talk to you all about any future plans that you guys might be having for testing periods and stuff like that. And again, thank you for taking time out of your valuable time out of your day to answer some questions from us here in the chat. I truly do love games like these. All right. Rogues are deft combatants who devote themselves to mastering the use of stealth, poisons, and all manners of tricks, all across the land of Aetheril. And if I pronounce something wrong, please point it out. We would love to start saying it correctly. Wherever you find a shady back alley, a rundown tavern, crowded marketplace, or gathering of distracted nobles, you'll also find rogues. They are also known as skilled informants, thieves, and even assassins. Rogues bring a plethora of skills into combat, the use of poisons to harm or debilitate their foes, or the use of a well-placed strike that may catch an opponent off guard, temporarily taking them out of the fight. In tough situations, a skilled rogue may quickly vanish from sight, allowing them a chance at a surprise attack or the option to leave the battle altogether. However, they are at their best when their foes are distracted by others, as to turn your back on a rogue is to invite a pointed outcome. In adventuring parties, a rogue's role is that of melee combat, focusing on the destruction of their enemies. While adventuring alone, they may find it hard to take down stronger enemies, but through stealth and the picking of pockets, it's feasible. Oh my god, see, that's what I've missed. I miss, like, pickpocket and beg and skills like that. It's feasible that they can at least afford a beer or two. Love it. Love it. Let's see. You're welcome. We always enjoy engaging with the community, answering questions on and where we can. Love to hear it. Please do reach out. I'm really popped in to say thanks for reading out our lore. Hey, lore is an important part of any MMO. It's a world, right? It's a world that you're building. It's more than just zeros and ones. For sure. It's more than damage meters. Here's a question that I got. Do I have to be a paladin to have a fiery sword in this game? Are particle effect weapons in the game, but rare? Like, if I see someone with a glowing sword, do I know they've seen some shit? Biggest ogres with the tiniest daggers. Hey, Des, thanks for giving a sub to Hey Karakitsali. Thank you. Can we fish in the game? That I don't know yet. My ranger has a fire sword right now. So that's one of the things that I was thinking too. I'm like, okay. If EverQuest continued down the path of World of Warcraft, they would have to do a couple of things. One, they would need to have like weapon effects, like fiery and ice enchants and stuff like that on their weapons. Two, spells would have to have more projectiles to them. Like, I remember, you know, when you got we called it the torpedo in EverQuest. When you got your torpedo attack, and it actually was a projectile, people were like, whoa! Ice Comet's actually a comet. Whoa! And then Dark Age of Camelot came out, and like everything had a projectile, and we just like lost our minds because EverQuest like barely had projectile attacks. Let's see. From a design perspective, devs, which class has been your favorite to implement and balance so far? I'm sure you won't be biased at all with answering that. Let's see. The Shadow Knight. Deep Dwarf, Deep Elf, Human Ogre, and Troll. I'm trying to remember, could humans actually be everything in EverQuest? I remember them being able to be almost everything. I feel like there were like a couple of clutch things like shamans, like there was a barbarian could be shaman. Beast lords or shamans, that's it, huh? I'm not involved with class implementation, but I have strong opinions when it comes to rangers. Yeah? I could tell. Barbs, trolls, and ogres were shamans. Ixar later in Kunark. Yeah. A knight who utilizes necromancy and other corrupt powers to augment their fighting abilities. Oh, here's a question that I got. Like okay, so this might... I played a paladin in one of the most recent time lock progression servers. I was intrigued and mortified to find out, and talk about EverQuest by the way, that as a paladin, you tank with some spells, but you eventually stop melee attacking because the risk of the counterattack just isn't worth it. So you have to gain taunt and just stand there. I wonder if Shadow Knights and Paladins are going to be like that similar, where it's like, you're not going to want to do that. What server we rolled? I'm not even there yet. I'm going over all the lore we got. Personally, I'm not into that. Yeah, so they were like, all right, so as a Paladin, you need to get taunt and then never attack again. And just stand there and wait for your spells to come off cooldown. Because that's just scientifically the best way to tank. Can you pick a server real quick so we can make our tunes? Oh, I'm sorry. I need to make a decision. What are the server names? I don't even have to get... See, there's worse things. There's worse things than having eager people to play together. I don't want you starting without me. Wait a minute. The hell with you all. I don't want to be left in the dust. Come on. Jeez. I know how it is. Y'all be just 2 or 3 levels higher than me, and I just won't be able to hang, and oh, it's okay, I'm just gonna go over here and do my own thing. Alright. Shadow Knights are grim combatants who commit their lives wholly towards seeking out the greatest evils lurking throughout Aether, no matter the cost. Their motivations differ. Some search the darkness for personal power or fame, while others carry with them a vendetta or bright mission wrapped in a black cloak. Shadow Knights harness magic that originates from the very darkness they strive so relentlessly to combat. This magic primarily takes the form of draining and leeching spells, as well as spells which shape shadows to enhance the caster's defenses. Within adventuring parties, it is often a Shadow Knight's duty to attract the ire of their foes away from their allies, though they are also quite capable at inflicting harm. While adventuring alone, a Shadow Knight may find some success through clever use of their magic. Shadow Knights, this music would have been better a moment ago. Shadow Knights are melee combatants who are able to make use of some magic. Shadow Knights usually prefer to wield two-handed weapons, though are capable of wielding all weapons. Alright. Shaman, an alchemist who speaks with the spirits and has powerful heals and curses. Shamans are animistic spellcasters who study and commune with spirits, souls, and nature. For many cultures across Aetheril and Aether, more broadly, shamans serve as spiritual leaders and moral guides. Within these cultures, the shaman often takes on the role of mediator between ancestor spirits and descendants, allowing communication between the two parties. The shaman often walks the edge of many realities. Shamans are powerful healers with access to many regenerative spells. They also have access to a wide range of spells which may enhance an ally's combat prowess or debilitate and destroy their enemies. Experienced shamans may summon bestial spirits to aid them in combat, though most powerful when casting spells. They are also capable melee combatants when the need arises. Within an adventuring party, a shaman most often takes on a supporting role. When adventuring alone, they may find some success through clever use of their abilities. Spellblade! This is new. An offense-focused fighter who infuses their weapons with arcane magics. Spellblades are scholarly warriors who combine... Oh, let me read real quick, sorry. Yeah, same. I think there can be no damage tanking mechanics like killing a mob with low HP because of bad effects. Not the tank should only be taunting because they get wrecked from riposts outside of an enraged-like situation. I don't think it feels fun to always not being able to attack as a tank. Sure. Yep. So the sandwich test we do. Combat/classes should be fun, strategic, and engaging to play. However, when you aren't messing up, you should be able to play them while eating a sandwich with the other hand. When you aren't messing up, you should be able to play them while eating a sandwich in the other hand. Okay. Is this sandwichy enough? So it's like, if you're competent enough with it, you can do it one-handed. But, yeah. I wonder how bard twisting will go with this. Assuming bard twisting is in. Let's see. Spellblades are scholarly warriors who combine swordplay with spellcasting. To a spellblade, this combination is a delicate and beautiful art which they devote their lives towards mastering and refining. Experienced spellblades often choose to wield a weapon in each hand as a means to further pushing the bounds of their skilled blade work. They tend to study similar magics to that of a wizard, but a spellblade's line of magic studies primarily focus on unique spells of shielding and enhancements. By using their weapons as casting implements, spellblades become a beautiful whirlwind of magic and martial destruction within combat. A spellblade should find adventuring most comfortable when supported by others. Within an adventuring party, a spellblade is above all else a honed implement of destruction, but may take on a more defensive role if needed. Spellblades may wear leather armor and can wield staves, daggers, and swords. And wizards! An extremely gifted spellcaster who utilizes destructive magic to slay their foes. Wizards are dedicated scholars of the magical arts. A wizard seeks to become a master of magic through study and practice. As the forerunners of magical knowledge and resource, they hold the ability to cast the most complex and dangerous spells available to mortals. Wizards excel at bringing battle to a swift end from afar with correctly chosen and deliberately timed spells. Should they become too depleted to use their spells, they are able to enter melee, delivering magically enhanced blows that reinvigorate themselves. Okay. Wizards are also capable of making foes more vulnerable to magic, enhancing allies' blows with extra effects, and manipulating the fabric of reality with teleportation-focused magic. Within adventuring parties, a wizard's role is focused on violence of action, to deal as much harm as possible, as quickly as possible. Some wizards may find adventuring alone to be difficult, but clever use of spells could prove otherwise. And that's all of the classes and the races. I don't know if we'll go through all the locations that they have available to them. But let's see what they've got. The World of Ether. Okay, it's a relatively short read here from what I can see. Aetheril. Aetheril is a massive continent surrounded by black seas and shattered civilizations. Littered with the broken remains of ancient lands and fallen gods, the vast and dangerous oceans of Ether have served to isolate the inhabitants of Aetheril and protect them from greater dangers that lie beyond. The continent itself is a wild and varied collection of biomes, from the frigid wastelands of the north to its rolling green plains, dense jungles, towering forests, and sprawling deserts further south. Ether's energies are seen to be clearly focused here, perhaps as a final bastion of warmth and light in a world that has seen so much conflict and catastrophe. The fonts of life still flow here, and its lands, both above and below, are densely packed with life and history. Now, as the most recent era of great conflict, the age of sundered kingdoms comes to a close, the great civilizations of Aetheril are pushed against the edges of their isolation, A new age of discovery is underway, and with it, the unearthing of the continent's rich past, as well as some things that might have been better left buried. The deep. Myths tell of a time when our world was first born, and Eth, the bright mother above, gazed lovingly down upon her creation. Eth's sister's sun grew dark with jealousy and lashed out violently at the young world. Eth immediately banished her sister, Fear, to the edge of the heavens, but alas, the damage was done. The power of the dark sun assault tore deep into the Eth-er. Over time, the wound healed, but beneath the surface of the world, malignance and corruption remained. The stone and soil are far from alone in harboring the aftermath of the assault, as the very barriers that shield us from nightmarish realities creak and ooze, both on Ether's surface and deep below. The deep spans the entirety of Ether. Great plains of darkness, sunless rivers, and bioluminescent seas create a world under our world. Its inhabitants and their cultures are as varied as those of the surface world, but it's fair to assume that their proximity to the corruption of Ether's core plays a role in what you'll encounter. Legends tell of an underground jungle fed by the radiance of a magical sun, fallen cities that once ruled the surface world, and gods imprisoned in forgotten crypts. But the deep is not just a home to mysteries to be discovered. Commerce between cities thrives along its dark rivers, and entire civilizations live in the lands below. Very cool. Very cool. Let's see. Check out a couple of frequently asked questions. When will the game launch? I think they said early access 2025. Classes to be playable, as you saw. Archer, Bard, Beastmaster, Cleric, Druid, Elementalist, Enchanter, Fighter, Inquisitor, Monk, Necromancer, Paladin, Ranger, Rogue, Shadow Knight, Shaman, Spellblade, Wizard. This list is not final. Will I be able to solo? If you're industrious enough, it's possible. Our game is focused on players and classes being dependent on each other, so we will be tuning the content with groups of 2 or 3 to 6 people in mind. Will there be instanced areas? Our goal is to keep the world as public and shared as possible. This means that we'll refrain from using instancing, unless we determine that no other solution provides the results we're seeking. How big is your raid size? We plan on focusing on single group content and ensuring that it maintains its viability as the primary form of content. Multi-group content will exist in world events and other open world targets of opportunity. Let's see. How big will the world be? We are currently designing a large world, underworld, alternate planes of reality, heavens, and history, because these games can last a long time, and lore is fun. But the proof of concept will include roughly 3 to 5 zones in a specific area. Doesn't this game seem a bit niche in the current day and age? Outstanding observational skills. It is very much a niche game. We're making a game that's not meant for everyone, and in staying narrowly focused, we're hoping that it's a game that we can continue to bootstrap the development of ourselves. More investment means more desire for return on investment, means more need to appeal to a broader audience, which in turn means more features, dilution, hands-holding, and in our opinions, more risk. Why did we pick this audience? Many of us first MMORPGs based on our love of MUDs, pen and paper games, CRPGs, or just the desire to share an online fantasy world. We believe this to be our core audience and a group that continues to grow. Within this broader addressable market is a subset of players that enjoy challenges and communities in a way that differ from the offerings of more modern, convenient, gamified experiences. They enjoy figuring things out on their own, exploration, and mechanics that have been left behind in newer MMOs. How do we give you money? We really appreciate that so many of you have offered to back the project, but our focus is in providing a demonstrably viable game first and foremost. Awesome. Once we've had some people in and playing with us and are able to show you a solid proof of concept, then we'll potentially discuss how best for you to support us beyond spreading the word. Okay. Our core target audience are PC gamers who have played MMORPGs during their classic eras, or have come to them more recently while searching for a greater sense of challenge and free-form exploration. Within this group, we are targeting individuals that prefer paying for a monthly subscription over free-to-play with microtransactions. Thank you. They're looking to figure out things on their own, prefer a slower pace, which allows for time to chat and or drink an adult beverage or two. Gameplay often more focused on getting into and maintaining camps throughout the world and in dungeons. This is a bit different from crawling through dungeons, though some of that is possible. Overall, we're a game for folks that are looking for a sense of place rather than a skill-based challenge. What's your intended business model? Monsters and Memories will use the monthly subscription model with no microtransactions. We'll focus instead on purchasable elements which remain outside of the game world to allow players to provide additional support to the team. This includes nostalgic items such as cloth maps and trinkets, as well as clothing, stickers, and other tangible goods. In-game coolness should be earned. I love hearing that. I really do. I do. Cool. Well, it sounds to me like we need to actually get into the game. Overview. Monsters and Memories will enter early access in January of 2026, not 2025, I was mistaken. Read our overview below or click to go there directly. The game will undergo alpha and beta testing prior to entering early access, ETA July/August. We aim to have all of our core gameplay systems complete and tested prior to early access. All dates may change as needed to account for this, so keep an eye on the roadmap page. Our goal of early access is to expand our game world and its content, not to use the time as an extended testing phase. Subscriptions are going to be $15 a month. There will be no box price, no in-game microtransactions, and there will be content updates that come with the subscription. Servers that go live as part of early access launch will not be reset or wiped. It is important to note that early access is not a head start period, but the initial launch of our game. Yes! And I was about to preface by saying I would never want to tell anybody their jobs or give unwanted advice, but there is so much caution to be had in early access and labeling as early access for games that cross into the MMO or MMORPG genre of gaming, especially if there is going to be a wipe. And that sad reality is that what early access nowadays is treated as is honestly full release cycle for MMOs. Like, they're just honestly treated that way. They kind of nature, nurture, whatever you want to say. The industry at large has conditioned the consumer to ultimately accept early access as a launch period of the game. And when it's not, when it's actually an early access beta test instead, what winds up happening is all of those combined early access playable periods take all the hype away from the actual launch. So you take a game like PAX Day, I think it's an awesome game. It's got some cool stuff that it's got going on, but them going into early access shoots themselves in the foot. Bam! Their hype, their launch hype is going to be significantly diminished, in my opinion. So a game like this, to acknowledge that early access is going to be launch, and that is when the state will be at, that's good. That is good. Yep. Cool. $180 a year if you're paying for it the entire time, Imagination 2 form. Join us on the road to early access. We will continue to run free play tests and stress tests prior to going live with our early access launch to ensure the game runs and plays as well as possible. This will also allow anyone the chance to try the game before paying any subscription fees. Good. You can already register on our accounts page and read the game manual prior to playing. Be sure to sign up for notifications in our Discord and join the mailing list to stay on top of all the latest information. Gotcha. We went back and forth in the term to use, especially with the baggage that comes with it, but we also didn't want to call a thing by a different name. No, listen, just because the industry has abused it doesn't mean that the original use of early access, like, it has its place, you know? So identifying that early access is more or less not so much a head start as it is like, you know, there were pre-order bonuses back in the day and stuff like that, but it's, you're getting to launch the game then. You know. Shrug, I don't play WoW or EVE because of it. And that's okay, Imagination 2 forms. Like, it's one of those things where, like, whether it's because of cost, like, whether because, like, it's difficult to afford, fundamentally maybe you just don't want to do it, or you just rather play any abundance of free-to-play games, like, that's perfectly fine, too. But, like, I get where these devs are coming from, and I'm the type of person who, so long as I am playing the game and playing it actively, I would prefer to pay a monthly fee to make sure that the devs are supported, you know? Like, it ensures that content is good. Alright, so I need to get the downloader.